The first grave I ever sold belonged to a little girl named Emily. At least, that's what I told her parents. Truth was, there was no grave, no cemetery, no peaceful hillside with marble angels overlooking rows of flowers. There wasn't even a patch of dirt reserved under her name. But grief makes people stupid, especially fresh grief. And I learned very early that people who just lost someone will buy anything if you package it just right. Forever Rest Memorial Gardens. That was the company name printed on my business cards. Gold lettering, cross in the corner, soft cream-colored cardstock, looked professional enough to fool the desperate. The scam was simple. I'd monitor obituaries in small towns, especially for sudden deaths. Car accidents, suicides, cancer. Dead children worked best. Then I'd show up at the family's door wearing a black suit and a sympathetic expression, and I'd tell them our cemetery specialized in private memorial preservation. Exclusive burial grounds untouched by commercial development. Lifetime maintenance, personalized headstones, tree-lined pathways. Most families never even asked to see the place. The ones who did usually backed down after I fed them some excuse about ongoing landscaping or county restrictions. By then, emotions had already done the work. People emptied inheritances for me, cashed out savings, sold jewelry. And afterward, I disappeared. New phone number, new town, different business cards. I told myself I wasn't hurting anybody. The dead didn't care where they were being buried. But after 12 years of ripping off grieving families, I started noticing something strange. Sometimes, I'd see them. The dead. Not clearly, not at first. Just glimpses. A little girl standing beside the highway at night. An old woman watching me through motel windows. A teenage boy with half his face caved in, sitting silently in the back seat of my car. I blamed exhaustion, guilt, too much whiskey. Still, every time I looked in the rearview mirror, I expected to see someone sitting behind me. That October night, rain hammered my windshield so hard I could barely see the road. I'd been driving through the back roads of Indiana for nearly 3 hours after another successful sale. An elderly widow this time. $70,000. Easy money. My GPS lost signal somewhere near a stretch of dead cornfields. No streetlights, no houses, just darkness and mud. Then I saw a farmhouse. It sat alone at the end of a gravel driveway, lit by a single porch light swaying in the wind. The place looked ancient. Rotting wood, sagging roof, rusted farm equipment scattered through the knee-high weeds. I almost kept driving, but my gas gauge hovered near empty and the storm was getting worse, so I pulled in. The old man answered the door first. Tall, thin, gray beard hanging to his chest. His overalls were stained with dirt like he'd crawl out of a grave himself. Behind him stood a woman around the same age, holding an oil lantern. Neither of them smiled. "Car trouble?" the old man asked. "Just need to use a phone," I said. The woman's eyes drifted down to my suit. "You from the funeral home?" I hesitated. Then instinct kicked in. "Something like that." That's when the old man invited me inside. The farmhouse smelled wrong. Not bad exactly, just earthy, damp, like wet soil after a heavy rain. The walls were covered in old black and white photographs. Most showed funerals, open caskets, groups of mourners standing beside graves. I tried not to stare. The woman poured coffee while I spun my usual lies. I told them about Forever Rest Memorial Gardens, about our exclusive countryside plots for families wanting peace and privacy after death. The old man listened carefully. Then he said something that made my stomach tighten. "Our boy died last winter." I lowered my voice sympathetically. "I'm sorry to hear that." "Inheritance came through recently," the woman added quietly. "Insurance money, too." Bingo. I'd heard that sentence 100 times before. The old man leaned forward slowly. How much for a family plot? I almost smiled. Instead, I gave them my professional funeral voice. For eternal plots with maintenance included, usually around 50,000. The woman nodded thoughtfully. We'll take it. That easy. I could already picture the cash. But then the old man added, first, we'd like to see the land. I froze for half a second. Unfortunately, the grounds are... No, he interrupted calmly. We insist. The room went silent except for rain hitting the windows. I considered leaving right then, making an excuse, but desperation overrode caution. I needed gas money, needed another score before heading south. And honestly, old people are so easy to intimidate. So I nodded. Fine, tomorrow morning. The woman smiled for the first time. It looked unnatural on her face. Wonderful. They offered me their guest room for the night. I should have left. God, I should have left. The room upstairs had no lock. Rain tapped softly against the windows while the old farmhouse groaned around me. I couldn't sleep. Something about the place felt wrong. At around 2 a.m, I heard footsteps downstairs. Slow and heavy, then a scraping sound. Curiosity got the better of me. I crept into the hallway and looked over the railing. The old couple stood near a door besides the kitchen, the basement door. The old man unlocked it with a key hanging around his neck. They both disappeared downstairs carrying lanterns. A few seconds later, I heard metal dragging across concrete. I don't know why I followed him. Maybe instinct, maybe greed, maybe stupidity. The basement stairs creaked under my weight as I descended into darkness. The smell hit me first. Rotting dirt, wet decay, and something worse underneath. The basement was enormous, bigger than the house itself. Rows of shelves lined the walls covered with wallets, watches, shoes, and suitcases. But what caught my eye were the business cards. Hundreds of them. Funeral homes, insurance agents, investment brokers, salesmen. My chest tightened. Then I saw the graves. They'd been dug directly into the basement floor. At least 6 of them. Fresh dirt mounded beside open holes. One grave wasn't fully covered. A pale hand stuck out from the soil. I stumbled backward in horror. That's when the woman spoke behind me. You boys always think grieving people are weak. I spun around. The old couple stood at the bottom of the stairs blocking my exit. The old man held a shotgun. I tried laughing nervously. Listen, whatever misunderstanding this is, you sell fake graves, the woman hissed. Her voice had changed completely. Cold, trembling with rage. Our son kills himself after your kind took everything we had. My mouth went dry. Wasn't me. Maybe not you specifically, the old man said, but men like you. He pointed toward the half-buried corpse. That one sold fake life insurance. Another grave, Ponzi scheme. Another, fake charities. The woman stepped closer. We bury predators here. I bolted for the stairs. The shotgun blast exploded through the basement. Pain ripped through my legs, sending me crashing face first into the dirt. I screamed. The old man calmly reloaded while I crawled desperately towards the steps, leaving a trail of blood behind me. Then, something grabbed my wrist. At first, I thought it was the woman. But no, it came from the grave beside me. A gray, rotting hand erupted from the soil and wrapped around my arm. Then another, and another. Faces emerged beneath the dirt, decayed mouths opening silently with hollow eyes staring at me. I recognized some of them. The little girl. The old woman. The teenage boy from my rearview mirror. All of them clawing upward through the earth, waiting. The old couple didn't even seem surprised, almost like they'd seen this happen before. I shrieked and tore free, but more hands grabbed my suit, my ankles, my hair. The dead were pulling me down. The old man walked over slowly while I screamed for help. "No one's coming," he said. The woman leaned beside my ear and whispered, "Now you finally got your burial plot." The last thing I saw was dirt pouring over my face while cold hands dragged me deeper underground. And somewhere in the darkness beneath the farmhouse, I heard dozens of voices crying beside me. Not mourning, laughing. Because after 12 years of selling graves, I finally got one of my own.